Hello creatives! Today I am turning this and this into this. So adorable. And I wanted to talk to you about something that came up last week. I've been thinking, what if I just gift some of the things I make in these videos, my experiments, my examples, to my audience? In the comment section of that video, there was a resounding yes, please, we'd like to be gifted one of your creations, even though they're not perfect. So I'm going to talk to you later in the video about how I'm going to go about doing these little giveaways, and I'm really excited to spread a little more kindness and love out there into the world today. But first, let's get busy. I've got several fall and spooky season molds that I've been anxious to pour. One is this adorable little ghost mold. I've got a ghost cat mold and a couple of pumpkin molds. And I'm going to be casting them with one of my new favorite discoveries, that is Resincrete by J. Diction. It's an eco resin, it's water-based, there's no smell, there's no sticky mess. It's super fun and easy to work with. I'm telling you, anyone can do this project. They've got the mixing ratios on the back to make it really easy, and you can demold these in 30 minutes. I've also got a couple of Resincrete pigments, yellow and orange, that I'm going to use for my pumpkins. You're going to need a measuring scale because this is measured by weight. Also, be sure to work on a level surface. I love my leveling board by J. Diction, and I've also got a nice silicone mat that I work on for easy cleanup. And this is going to be weighed by grams. I'm going to do about 300 grams of powder to 90 grams of water. And then you just mix it up. There will be a lot of lumps, and I just do the best I can. I've always got lumps in my pour, and you never notice in the end. This stuff is very forgiving, very durable, and you'll never notice. I'm gonna leave this pour just white as is because I love the beautiful white finish without mixing any pigment. And so I want my little ghosties to be white. I'm just gonna top those off, give them a little bit of a jiggle. My cat mold is not as stable as my ghost mold, so not too much jiggle and wiggle going on there. But do your best to release some of those air bubbles. And then with my leftover, I always keep this jewelry mold on hand. It makes great little magnets, pendants, and we'll do some of those too later in the video. And now I'm gonna mix up another batch and add in my Resincrete pigments. And with my pumpkin, I think I wanna have a swirled kind of look, so I don't mix it all the way, and pour that in, and we'll see what it looks like when it comes time to demold. And as always, I'll be sure to list all the supplies that I use down in the description of my video, and there are some discount codes in there, so be sure to check that out. And with my other pumpkin with the face in it, I'm going to blend it in a little more, add some of that yellow, change the color a bit, and top that off until it's full, and let those cure. You can see on the back where I didn't fully mix the pigments and some air bubbles have come up, but don't worry about that because that is the bottom of the mold and you won't ever see it. In the meantime, my first pour has been curing and it's all ready to demold. And you can see how easy these pop out of that mold. I'm telling you, this stuff is quick. It's fast. It feels like porcelain or ceramic. It's cool and smooth to the touch. It's not plasticky at all. I really love it. Now let's demold our ghost. He came right out and he looks great. I don't see any air bubbles anywhere. You don't see any of those lumps that settled in. And I just need to do a little bit of the sanding on the bottom. And our ghosty cat popped right out too. And they're so cute. I mean, you could just leave them white and have just a very modern ghosty look. But I'm gonna vintage these up a little and make them more my style. But first I'm gonna get out my sanding block. This is actually a nail salon buffing block. And I love that it's got the 4 different kinds of sandpaper on it so that you can start with rough and go to smooth. And I'm just gonna sand down the bottom of my ghost a tad bit because he's a little rough around the edges. And you've seen me do this in other videos where I like to Mod Podge my Eco Resin. So I'm gonna use some napkins that I have. Make sure you peel away the extra layers so you're only left with the printed side. I just thought this would look super cute if we gave him a little bit of a kind of farmhouse vintage floral drapery on his ghost sheet. But before I get started on that, let's go ahead and demold our pumpkins because they're ready to go. I actually really like the marble look of it, and you could just leave it as is, but again, I might do a little something something to him later on. And now let's look at the one with the face. Okay, I gotta say I'm not loving the little creepy jack-o'-lantern face. It's not even cute, it's just kind of creepy. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do with this. Stay tuned. All right, back to our little ghosts. I'm going to get out my Mod Podge and my napkin and start cutting and applying some of these flowers to him. I kind of want it to look like he draped grandma's sheet over him. And I learned in previous lessons using Mod Podge with this just to work in small sections. I don't want to bore you with the hour of me Mod Podging these. It took a lot longer to Mod Podge than it did to actually mix, pour them and demold them. But just take your time and design them the way you want. Unfortunately, these were cheap napkins, and you can see that the ink on them started to kind of spread throughout, not really giving me the look I was going for. So I'm going to do another ghost here in a minute and show you how that one turned out with a different napkin. And these water pens are great for removing your excess material when you're done Mod Podging. It just dissolves it and you can pull it right off and then finish it off with some more Mod Podge. Now let's move on to our cat. I used the same napkin, I just didn't spread my brush around as much. I just dabbed and tapped so maybe the ink wouldn't bleed out into the rest of it. And that did work better. Although this first attempt didn't come out exactly the way I wanted, they're still kind of cute. I need to give them some eyes and maybe put some resin on them for a final coat. But let's Mod Podge a few of our little pendant pieces that we had with our leftover eco resin. I just do the same thing. I apply a thin coat of Mod Podge. I pick out which part of the napkin I want to use. Maybe some of the spooky napkin material would be cute since it's spooky season coming on. And we will finish these up later with a top coat too. Now that my first cat and ghost are dry, I'm going to give them some eyes, and I'm just using a Sharpie. And then I decided to coat these with a little bit of UV resin, and I placed them under my brand new curing machine, which also has a UV light to test it out. But I'm going to do a more thorough review of this machine in the future when I'm working with epoxy resin, so stay tuned for that. I found another stash of napkins. These are better quality, and I'm hoping that this will turn out more the way that I had envisioned. I love this little ghost. With this one, I'm just going to use my J. Diction gloss sealer. It's made for Resincrete, and it's not going to have that thick sheen like UV resin does, but it's going to give it just a slight satin gloss and keep it velvety looking. Now let's tackle that pumpkin. Again, I'm taking bits and pieces of another napkin that I had and cutting out just the parts that I want to put on it. And then I'm going to decoupage this onto the pumpkin. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to use some of this twine and hot glue it on just to give it a little more something something. And there we have our little Eco Resin decoupaged pumpkin. And then I went ahead and added a little fox to the other creepy one, turned them around, and hey, you never know. We'll just put the ugly side to the back when we put them on display. Well, this one is my favorite. I'd love to know which one you like in the comments below. And here are the finished little magnets or pendants. They can be whatever you'd like. I could decoupage these all day long. And about those fairies, the little whimsy fairies, if you haven't seen that video, be sure to watch it and check it out so you know what it is that you're trying to win. But all you need to do is put a comment in this video. And I found a random comment picker that's gonna choose 2 people. I'm gonna give away the pendant and the little charm and gift it to you. All the rules that you have to have because YouTube wants you to have are down in the description of the video, so be sure to check that out. But yes, because of the logistics and cost, I'm only going to offer these giftings, giveaways to US residents. Sorry for all of you abroad. At some point, maybe I will gift further if I can afford it. But for now, we're just going to do it in the United States, and I do apologize because I love all of y'all. Have a great week, and I hope that you're inspired to create something too.